Many teachers will be watching you, Shauli, from YouTube. Some of your ex-teachers will be watching you from YouTube.
Oh my God, that's such a huge honor. Thank you.
Right. It's a pleasure for them also.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome.
Surely it's Rakhi Miss is super excited. Like she was constantly saying, "Okay, Shauli will be coming." So we can only recall that. So now you're coming as a resource person for economics. So it's a matter of great pride for her being the economics subject teacher.
Absolutely, absolutely. I completely understand, and I'm more than grateful to all of you. Actually, not just any particular teacher, but I'm more than grateful to all of you. And at the same time, I'm so glad that I could make her so proud, and I'm really it makes my whole day to hear that. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Nukumis. Thank you, Shauli.
Thank you, Rajak, ma'am. I see your comment in the messages.
Okay, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm absolutely all right. How are you?
I am fine. I am eagerly to uh, learn about you in economics.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Okay.
Um, Rahman, should I at least try sharing the screen and just put it at the first slide so that to check if it's working?
Yeah, just you can check, then I will start and then you will go
Okay,
ahead. Just
perfect,
you
perfect.
can check once. Okay, Shauli, you keep trying by the time I start, okay, so that you can carry forward. You keep trying. A very good afternoon to one and all present here, and a very warm and hearty welcome to Miss Shauli Pandit, the resource person of today's seminar. On behalf of St. Augustine Day School, Barrackpore, which also happens to be her alma mater. Shauli is currently rendering her services as junior actuarial analyst after having completed her joint double degree in quantitative models and methods in economics from Pantheon Sorbonne and University of CA Foscari, Venice. She has also done her master's in risk engineering of finance and insurance mathematics from Pantheon Sorbonne, Paris. We at St. Augustine Day School, Barrackpore are proud of you and wish you a profound success in your future endeavors. We also thankfully appreciate your immediate response of having agreed to conduct a virtual seminar, which will go a long way to enable our existing students to have a very meaningful insight in today's topic. I'm sure our students will be interactive and enthralled while listening to you. Now, I hand over the platform to you, Shauli.
Thank you so much for the warm and generous welcome, ma'am. It's been a really pleasure for me to be here. And right away I responded because it's such a huge honor to be coming back to your alma mater to present what you're doing in life and how far you've come, and coming to the place where it all began. Because I think my elementary, my middle, and my high school was all St. Augustine. So I'm really honored and I'm really grateful to be here. And thank you, Pshita ma'am. Thank you for the warm welcome. And good morning from Paris, but good afternoon to all of you in India. Thank you so much for being here, because I can understand that it's a Saturday. So thank you so much for your patience. And I hope this seminar is going to be useful and beneficial to anybody who's even remotely inclined to studying economics or mathematics and statistics or their application in the real world. I'll start right away. I'll jump in right away. For me, who am I? As Raki ma'am introduced me already, I am an ex-student from Augustine, senior batch of 2012. And I had no idea of economics in my class 11-12, but I did study economics with Raki ma'am for the middle school and 2 years of high school. For me, I think my backstory would be that I come from a pure science background, but that doesn't necessarily influence your choice in economics, because if you do choose economics in your plus 11, like plus one, that is 11 or 12, class 11-12 for economics and geography and maths, I think that was a combination in our school. I'm not sure if it's still there. So if you choose that, it's more than enough to go ahead in this field. And that's the beauty of economics. You can come from any field and you can join economics, because economics is, you take a newspaper, you read, and you will be informed about the world's economy, your country's economy. So that's the beauty about economics. You're up to date about your worldly affairs. So you'll have a brief idea about economics. Now, I did my bachelor's in economics, as I said, with statistics and maths from Maulana Azad College under Calcutta University. And then I shifted to Bombay for a more general master's. So most of my fellows, like classmates or colleagues, they knew already that what would they want to specialize in. So they kind of stayed back with Calcutta University, or they moved on to a more specialized university in Pune. For me, I was very uncertain because what I studied in bachelor's was, again, just a complete starters pack, an introduction, and I had no idea which particular branch of economics I really wanted to go and specialize in. So I saw this course in Bombay, and it's SNDT Women's University. It's one of the very first women's university. And there I had the opportunity to explore different branches of economics, not only development economics or international economics, business economics, industrial economics, and even it went on to quantitative economics like mathematical and statistical economics. So from there, I had a generalized idea that, okay, so I really want to go forward with my quantitative economics backdrop. So I took 1 year to study the area, you could say, or even because I didn't know which universities I wanted to apply now, because now I had an idea I wanted to go for quantitatives. So I kind of took that gap year, and I was a guest lecturer at a college in Bombay, thanks to my professors in Bombay, of course, because we had lots of seminars and presentations there. So your face kind of gets recognized, and people call out to you, they reach out to you, and they say, okay, can you come and be a guest lecturer in our university? So I had the opportunity to be a guest lecturer for first years and third years students in econometrics and in development economics. And that year, I kind of applied I looked around the entire world. I wanted to get out of India in a way, sort of way you're going to say, because I wanted to have an international exposure. And my parents didn't know about it. That's the funny part. They had no clue. They just knew that, okay, she's going steady. She has an inclination towards quantitative economics. And then I went on to going for my applying even in Japan, firstly, because I like the country. And secondly, most important, Kyoto University is known for development economics with an application of quants. So that was one. And the other one was Paris. Now, when I reached out to my professors in bachelor's as well as master's, they told me strongly that Paris is it's a strong place for economics with quants background. And anybody in this call who is having an inclination towards physics, maybe, just because it is a quants kind of based kind of country where Paris is known for its really strong courses in mathematics and statistics, you can also apply for physics because they really have good labs. At least that's what my colleagues have told me. And for economics as well. And the opportunities are plenty. At this moment, I finished my second year of master's, and I'm finishing my alternance. That is kind of a work study program with a company. So that is Chubb. Chubb CE is my company, Chubb Continental Europe. It's an American actuarial firm. And by actuary, I mean insurance actuary. So to give you a brief idea, actuary is something which deals with measuring risk and uncertainty. Any business hub which deals with risk, measuring risk and uncertainty, and mine is in the insurance field. So Chubb as a whole deals with both life and non-life, but the continental Europe part deals only with non-life insurance. So I am more into non-life insurance. I have no idea about life insurance, but well, it depends where I go next. I can go to UK or I can go to Asia, and then there'll be more scope for life insurance within Chubb. So this is what I do exactly right now. I'm alternating. I'm an apprentice at this company. And I'll quickly move on to bringing you home to economics. As most of you might know, economics is coming from Eco and Nomos. So that was the first thing I think Rakhi ma'am taught us in school. And Eco means home and Nomos means account. So economics kind of deals with from managing home accounts, and now it is such a widespread kind of idea in the entire world. And I remember when I was in class 9 or 10, I had the opportunity to study basics of economics and economics phenomena like demand and supply, or different kinds of market, like perfectly elastic market, perfectly inelastic market, monopolies and oligopolies, and etc. And then we went on to study Indian economy and its structure at its core. So I think what we studied was mainly economics applications, or applied economics, I think. And then I think further, if you're in class 11, 12, you're studying money and banking, development economics, micro, macro, a general idea, simple statistics, and I think also to some extent public finance. So for those of you who might be curious as to what economics as a major you might get into in your bachelor's, you have all of these. You have all of these from the beginning. It's micro, macro, statistics, public finance. One additional one is mathematical economics, which was particularly fun for me because you just got to solve a few things and you were done. So it was super fun, super simple, and you got results right there. So it was not like assuming stuff all of the time like we do in economics. So jumping onto that, as you can see in the screen now, and oh yes, please feel free to stop me any time of the thing to just ask me questions. I'll be happy to answer them. And also please let me know, ma'am, I think you're the mediator, so please let me know if I'm going super fast or not. So, okay, so now dealing with the different branches of economics, I think we have behavioral economics, which is a very interesting kind of microeconomics, and it deals with consumer behavior or even patterns in the market to develop strategies to improve a company's performance or company's products. And then we have game theory, which was one of my favorites because this kind of is another microeconomics based application where you kind of come up with mathematical models to optimize strategies and to apply. Again, the application is again in the business world, you know. Moreover, you have international economics, which I think few of you might have certain idea about it. And international economics not only deals with forex rate or anything like that. Further ahead down the road, you will also have international relations, negotiations within countries. So one thing I think coming to France kind of opened this up for me was that staying in India, I did not honestly have an exposure to the fact that we could also intern at UN when we were doing our bachelor's in India. And but here, when you come, you see so many kids, they have already had 2 or 3 internships by the time they're finishing their master's second year. And one of them is like the international economics part, where they deal with security, then policies and economic strategies between countries at the UN. So I think that's a great opportunity in an internship. And also, if you're interested in those kind of things, that's also an option if you study economics. Moreover, in international economics, as I mentioned, there's negotiation, like how you manage crisis, or maybe you talk between 2 countries to mitigate or to minimize the any harm, or to keep war away at the prime so that you mitigate any conflict. And then you also have, of course, conflict management. And these all stem from your basics in international economics. And then you can go and improvise and learn more in these particular perfectly curated, master's program. Then we have banking and financial institutions. Surprise, surprise, economics, so banking, of course. And for banking, you have various roles. You can get into banking in India, I think, just by examination. But also, I think one of my fellow classmates from St. Augustine's itself, she did a specialized course in banking, and now she's with a really good bank as a policy manager. So that's something, if you are interested in, you can look into, like financial institutions. You regulate policy, you research for better ways to handle the inflation rates. And then you have developmental economics, which I was going on and on ranting about it before. Development economics is a huge, and it's a big concept right now all over the world, because people really are at the prime of exhausting the resources, and the economic condition of many countries are still not, developed. they're still developing. And so in order to maintain, or in order to integrate the proper facilitation between the developed countries and the developing countries, this kind of economists who deal with developmental economics, they kind of bring forth to the table different policy measures, different adjustments, and innovative ideas. So economics in development world is all about finding ways to improve not only the growth of an economy, as you might know, but also to improve the living conditions. It's kind of an, you could say, some sort of humanitarian approach, but at the same time, development economics is also integrated with stuff like a company's development, or a firm mitigating its the pollution into the environment, and still making all the necessary products, because of course there are various firms or industries which kind of take the environment for granted, but now because of development economies, because of policy measures, they're coming to a little slowdown of harming the environment, and then brings in the sustainability. Well, one of the branch of economics that I learned in my Bombay master's course was women and gender economics, and honestly I had no idea about it, and that taught me kind of the concept of gender equality, or equivalence, as I want to say. I prefer saying equivalence because I think different people are different, so you can't really equate an orange and an apple. So equivalence, and in making sure that in an industrial structure, or in a firm, or in a corporate section, there's proper representation of women, especially in societies like where, and honestly it's not just India, it's everywhere, it's even in France, that it comes out a little bit, a little snob of the patriarchy, which comes out. But so it's all about that thing, like trying to maintain that women level so that you can have opportunities for women, as well as trying to make sure that women have all the proper resources to lead a good life. Labor economics is something to, I don't know if you have gone through this labor economics, but it's something which is related to the prices, the wages, wage rates, and the fair wage rates for the laborers, not only the laborers, but also the people who are working at corporate facilities. Like for an example, in France, it's very, very strict. If you get a permanent contract, it's super difficult to kick you out of the company. So that is kind of, so the government is kind of like, it's really supportive of its employees, if it's laborers, of its wage earners. So that's labor economics. Then you have managerial business economics, which kind of goes into directly applying economic theories into the businesses. And then you have industrial economics, similar situation. Econometrics is something where you add statistics in economics to run what I'm doing exactly in my work, to run the possibility to interpret or predict something. So it's like predictive modeling in mathematics. Predictive modeling might be a heavy term to say, but in the same time, it's, say, for example, in my line of work, you and I, we have all claims, insurance, right? Life insurance, or let's just say that I run a medical company and my medicine can have a side effect. So that side effect kind of can appear in anybody. You have no way of knowing who or when, but when it appears, they are insured. They have already insured themselves from this kind of situation because they know that this is a possibility. So because they have insured themselves, they get a coverage from the insurance companies to help pay for all those things that that particular consumer is going through and that particular consumer is suing them for. And how do we know how much money do we need to keep aside for this particular company? So this is all in predictive modeling. So you kind of need to predict that, okay, so this is how much I need to set aside for this particular company for this year. Maybe next year, depending on the market situation or depending on the situation, how the industry or how the company is performing at the moment. Suppose the company is performing really well, it has really good ethics, it has really good products. So we can be a little sure that, okay, maybe we can keep a little less reserve or little less amount of money aside for this company because they're performing so well and they don't have that many incidents. But then there are other companies which might need more reserves because they have lots of incidents and they're really risky. So this is how predictive modeling works, and we use econometrics in it. Some of the statistical tools, I'm not going to go into details, are linear regression. You might just look that up. But that is something that you will definitely learn in your bachelor's. So you don't have to be worried that, okay, I don't know anything about it. No, it's okay. You know statistics, you know mathematics, for example. You apply it and you learn it, and it's super simple. Mathematical economics, as I mentioned before, it's just, again, modeling and trying to predict a few things of macro as well as micro. So you have mathematical economics in macro as well as micro. And we had a lot in my master's here in France because, as I said, it's a quant country. So my department was the Department of Maths and Computer Science. So we had mathematics in every branch of economics. So to prove any particular theory, we use mathematical economics as a model, and we prove that particular theory using mathematics. That's the entire idea. One thing that I distinctly mentioned was optimization, which is basically for industries mainly, or situations. For example, if you want to the main idea of a private company is to maximize profit and to minimize the cost. So that is optimization. So that is a branch of mathematical economics that we use broadly. Now, moving on to economics and career prospects. As you can see, since there are so many branches in economics, we have lots and lots of job opportunities as well. Plus, you can even branch out to different fields because you already have the background of a perfectly working economy or even an imperfectly working economy. Main idea is you know how the world works. So that is economics, you know how the entire world works. If you're interested and you take up a combination of, say, political science, you even know that aspect of the economy. So to look at the broad picture, you have analytics, which is kind of a mix. So analytics and finance insurance is kind of like a mix for me because they're overlapping most of the time. Analytics is like data scientists who predict the future unpredictability and the future risks and everything. And data analysts are the ones who have the data of the past year and they try to analyze, okay, how is the company performing now? Or maybe is there a discrepancy between how they were performing last year and this year? So that's a data analyst. And then financial analyst is a very wide concept. So that also includes, as you can see in the financial and insurance box, it also includes the finance risk engineering part of the job. So financial analyst is an umbrella term for the entire finance engineering and risk and everything. And they also help determine how much risk a particular client or a particular company is going to go through in the financial market. For example, another branch from there is investment banking, which is a little different from risk engineering. Investment banking is something where people invest for you. So you are being represented by a firm and they invest for you to get you profits. Risk engineering is something they will tell you if your company is going to run into a risk, if your stocks are falling or going up. And financial analyst, it is an umbrella term for the entire thing. Business intelligence and analysts tell you how your company is performing overall. So not just the finance sector, the stock market, it's also the profitability, or it's also can the business stay afloat in the near future or not, and which particular segment of the business is giving you more profit and which particular segment maybe you're running a loss. So that is business intelligence and analysis. And intelligence also includes if you gain a particular intelligence in the market area of your particular company, because you might have competition, right? So business intelligence tells you maybe you develop products which are complementary or to the ones that's already there in the market. And then you have economists and research analysts, of course. If you join think tanks, which I've also mentioned, think tanks are institutions where you have policy researchers and you like to research about communications, about policy influence in a particular economy, and then managing newer developing ideas in an economy. So you join a think tank. You join them and you kind of advise the government that, oh, maybe you should do this. Remember the entire demonetization scenario? That was actually suggested by a think tank official to Narendra Modi. So, but again, I can see that there are lots of ads and pros and cons in that. Mainly, I believe, the way they implemented it was not fully done. And the think tank also kind of reached out in a public statement saying that we kind of represented in a different way, but well. So think tanks kind of come up with such ideas to help the economy flourish and develop. And then for development economics, mentioned before, you have global development economics and you have lots of UN positions. So I really encourage you all to apply for internships when you get into your bachelor's. When you're studying economics and you can apply for these UN positions for internships. They're not paid, but at least you gain a lot of insight and intel into all these positions and their workings. And then you have international relations and policies, negotiation, crisis mitigation. These are actually positions in all these UN field of work line where you can actually work or even do something with an NGO at a country level. Then you have, again, as I said, my actuarial analysis, then fraudulence monitoring. Fraudulence monitoring is something where you go in for example, you have a company performing, or you even have actually an actuarial firm, like my firm, performing, and they want to monitor if we are getting involved in a monetary scandal or anything. So they will go through our files, our records, and they will monitor if there is any scope of fraudulence, so that they can report us, or they can sue us, or they can, rectify us, apparently. So other fields, you can go into marketing and management from economics. Like, for example, MBA is super well known. It also is very helpful in, economics is super helpful when you go into MBA. And you have the International Labor Organization. If you're studying labor economics, you have policy researchers and makers. And then you have sustainability consultant from development economics. It's also a branch of it. So you have all these career prospects and opportunities to go into from economics, and you have, different resources you just need to utilize. For example, I think if you want to get familiar with more in-depth economic analysis, maybe you should start reading journals. And I think you might already, some of you, read economic journals, like the Economic and Political Weekly, and you have other journals as well. So go through them. You have really good articles published there. I can attest to that because I was interning as well in Economic and Political Weekly, and there they only publish really well curated articles by PhD scholars, and they proofreaded minimum thrice to get any, and all these people who are proofreading are not from media background, they're from economics background, so they know what they're doing, and that's how it's published in the journal. And it's, so you can absolutely go into the journal, you read the article, you have online subscription, you have offline subscription, so that is a very good resource for kind of playing around with which field of economics you are interested in, or to understand and get an in-depth insight into the world of economics. So coming back to working at Chubb CE and the world of actuary, as you can see in the map, the green portion kind of highlights my company's presence. So we are there in 54 countries, and most of them, like CE, most of continental Europe is, as I said, non-life insurance. and USA and South USA, South America and USA are mostly life insurance, but they also have non-life insurance. And you have Asia, which is mostly life insurance. We have a diverse team, and by diverse, I mean I'm an Indian alternating. In my team, we are 10 alternants, like 10 interns, you might say, or 10 apprentices, and 3 of them are from Africa, 1 from Algeria, 2 from Morocco, actually 4, 1 from Egypt. So, and then you have French people as well, and then you have people from UK also interning. So it's a very diverse team. Our senior analysts are super diverse as well. Like my mentor, she is from Trinidad. Another senior analyst is from Korea, South Korea, and there are French mentors as well. So having a diverse team kind of helps to think differently and explore broader thoughts and a broader way of looking at a picture. And then you have experiences, like for example, we share our experiences in the sense that we come together and we have potluck. For example, we have different lunch, we cook our own food and we bring it and we share it. So it's a wonderful experience. It's a wonderful exchange as well. And then of course, skills. One of them is from an IT background. He's studying IT and he's still in an actual team because an actuary, we need IT help as well. I'm from Quantitative Economics. Another person is studying insurance. So we all bring different things to the table. And the best part about this is that we can reach out to each other anytime through text. And we have a messenger app. We just reach out and they're there. We are there for each other to help each other out in anything they might not be so confident in, but maybe it's our field. So we kind of help each other out. As you can see, it's not a pretty picture. So Chubb CE PNC, that is property and casualty, we deal with big companies, not individuals. So our losses are also big. So as you can see in the topmost picture, there's a ship which is having it's turning over and because of the heavy weights and everything. So we as a company, we have insured these people so that they don't go through potential losses. And because these items can also be perishable items. So they're perishable first, and second, also losing them in the sea if they're heavy because they're gone into the depths of the sea. And also the ship, the container, we also insure the container. So these kind of things are our insurance mainly, what we deal with. We insure these, and then you see that there's an accident there because construction work, and there was an accident. We insure that so that any liability like death or harm, physical harm to an individual or other people in the facility, or just the general damage to the structure, we insure it so that the companies in charge, they can continue with the work without having to think twice about their losses. And as you can see, we also have the casualty loss here in the end, which is imported baby formula tainted with melamine, which is not a happy thought. So that kind of also insurance is covered by our company. And these are the few companies. I'm not sure if you know all of them, but for sure, I'm pretty sure most of you might know Chanel, Renault, L'Oréal, BNP is another bank, Societe Generale is another bank. We insure them. And these are all the companies, big time companies, big time corporate companies we insure. And this was possible because I came here, I took a risk and I came here and I applied to different universities. So as you can see that I didn't start off right away from international background. And was I scared? Of course, I was scared because I didn't know the language, French. And thankfully, because it was an international course, so I could come here and I could integrate with the rest of them. And the course was completely in English, so that helped. And also for bachelor's, I would suggest that honestly do what your heart feels like, right? But if you still stay with Calcutta University, it's still one of the best universities. And you also have Kalyani University as well, which are really good universities to study economics. And Then rest of India, you have ISI, which is really famous, and you have IGIDR, but they are mostly people go there for their masters, and they're really good, like really good institutions for economics or statistics. And IGIDR is mainly in economics with the banking thing, but ISI is super into quants again. You also have Delhi University, which is renowned, Delhi School of Economics. And in abroad, I would suggest that if you are planning on coming here and if you do intend to study quant economics, come to Paris, come to France, because it's one of the best in the European region. And in Germany, education is completely free. So you might want to consider that as an option. But at the same time, you rather go to a university where you know that the world knows it, it's renowned, and the education level is really good. Yes, you have to work hard, but I mean, to achieve something, you have to work hard anywhere, right? So that's EU. And UK, you have London School of Economics. Everybody knows about it. It's really good. And it's not that difficult to get into. If you write a really good thesis, or what you call a small snapshot of why you want to be here, and then it's easy. And you have to have also really good letter of recommendations to get into these kind of universities. USA, there are lots of universities. Again, I don't speak much experience from bachelor's, but I do speak with experience from master's because I was looking into it, and as well as PhD. NYU is a good university name-wise because people know it, so New York University. And then you have another university, which is University of Maryland, which is really known for its macroeconomics program. The professors are top-notch, and they're really kind and helpful. Like, even now, if you just write emails to these people in these universities, or any university for that sake, they will reach out to you, they will respond to you, they will clarify your any doubts and everything. And in Asia, as I mentioned before, Japan is good for development economics. Then Singapore is really coming up for corporate economics and business economics, and then mixed with MBA and everything. So China has a very good quant program, but I'm not sure if they have really good placements there. So in that sense, I mean, you would either have to learn Mandarin to stay in China, or else you have to come back to India. So that was about schools, universities, and further education. I can only help you with scholarships and student aid, particularly in France, because that's my first-hand experience. And my program was a Erasmus exchange program. That's the main reason. Actually, that was one of the reasons why I applied for this, where I would have the opportunity to not just study in one university. That's why it's a double joint program, but also with another university. And I chose University of Ca' Foscari, Venezia, because it had finance, and I was really inclined to do finance. And that university gave the students the freedom to not only study your main subjects, but also sit for other classes which you were interested in if you had the time. Of course, given that you do not mess up your actual programs, courses. So that was something really great about Ca' Foscari. And the Erasmus program, it kind of funded you. So that was one of the major selling points of this program, I think, because not only the universities are brilliant, another university, if you're going for PhD in economics, then I would highly recommend UAB of Barcelona, which is really good for, which like curates you in your master's to have a really good potential for PhD. And this is a partner university for my program. And then we had Warsaw University, which is renowned for its mathematical background, mathematical programs with economics. And you have Brussels University, Belgium. All these universities are renowned universities with the Erasmus program. My program, if you're interested in, if you want to look it up, is QEM program. And my parent university was Sorbonne, and I came to Sorbonne, and then I went to Venice. So I came back to Sorbonne because it had the courses which I had my interest in. So that's why I kind of requested, and they said, okay, you can, for your second year, you can come back to Paris for your second year. And so that helped out because, again, in my second year, I had this facility that I could reach out to internships, and it could be a work study program for me. So, for example, how it worked out for me was, in the beginning, it was a trimester system. So trimester means in a whole year, you have 3 semesters. So the first one, I went to the office, went to work for 2 days, and went to school for 3 days. And then the second one, I went to office for 3 days and went to school for 2 days. And the third one, I'm going to office every day, and it's still September. So that kind of is a holistic kind of improvement, a scope for your growth. You not only are studying the theoretical parts, but you get to apply it firsthand in your office. So something that was really amazing for me was that because I was studying only theory and maths and applications of maths, I didn't know how it applied to the real world. So once I went for this, I was reading something, and the very next day, a job came up or a project came up which required that application. So you understood it even better. So that was something that was really good at Sorbonne, that opportunity. So I didn't want to pass it up. I came back. And other universities which also have these kind of facilities are Sciences Po, which is also known for international relations. If you are interested in that, like international relations with mitigation and coexistence with other countries, between other countries, that is, Sciences Po is known for those programs. Paris School of Economics is more into development economics and public finance. So you can apply for PSC. PSC is one of the most respectable universities in Paris and in France. And you're definitely, if you get in, you'll be placed 100%. That's their rate. University of Toulouse, again, south of France, is a good university. Dauphine is for finance. And in France, if you're worried about the financial thing, I applied for a scholarship. And you can apply for a scholarship. It's with the French, because we have a diplomatic tie. So you can apply for it. And if your fee is below a certain amount, they cover your entire fee. And then you also have, because my Erasmus program, I had an Erasmus scholarship. So I applied for it. And depending on your meritocracy, they give you the scholarship. So every person got a different amount of scholarship. And that is also a very good incentive to maintain your scores in your school. And moreover, the government also pays a lot of housing aid. Like if you have a rent of, say, 500 euros, you can get up to 200 euros of support from the government. So that's a pretty good deal, having 300 euros just to pay for your rent. And then you have youth support. Youth support is like if you're below 26 and you're doing your master's or you're doing your studies here, any kind of studies, then they give you extra 150 depending on your location, up to 150 euros. So for your food or for your movement. And then you have unemployment funding. Once you complete your studies and suppose you're looking for a work, you just apply, you just enroll for this. Even if you're not French, they will give you all these support. So that's why I think France is such a wonderful country to come and study, because even though it might not have free education like Germany, but it has so much opportunities to not only help you financially, but also, the major selling point is social security. So for me, all my medical bills are free. I had my 2 doses of COVID vaccine here for free. I have my tests here for free. So these are something which France government really supports the young generation, the young people moving in France. So that's something that you can look up to and look forward to. And even it goes beyond that. Like once you get your diploma from this university, because of the diplomatic ties between India and France, you can renew your visa for 2 more years and you can stay in France and you can continue to look for work if you want to. And I would highly suggest, before going into any further studies or your master's, you try looking for internships at your bachelor's, because nobody was there to tell me about this, but it helps. It helps a lot, because once you get out there into the real world, you do your internships, people know that, okay, she did something or he did something, and they have a real world experience, so they know what is what. And it is important also because suppose you go out and you intern at a UN company, or you intern at a UN program, or at a think tank, you have network, you know people, and these people, trust me, are at really powerful positions. So if you ask them, if you reach out to them face to face or even through email, and because they know you, it has a different impact, they will guide you in the way that you want to go in your future. Moreover, I think interning at different places will also give you the experience you need. For example, I did not know what to do, right? So I did 2 masters. So I'm not going to say I regret it, absolutely not. But could I have evaded if I had an internship before? Maybe. Because if I did an internship before, I would have already realized, okay, this part of economics, I don't like so much. But this part of economics, yes, I'm interested to further my game in that. So I could have done it that way. But at the same time, you have that experience. You realize yourself what you want to do. You're not swimming in the ocean blind. That's the main idea of internships. So I highly encourage you to look for internships actively when you're in your bachelor's. Don't do it in your first year, because first year you're just getting into your college and you're trying to adjust to a completely different environment. And trust me, colleges are different from the school. School, your teachers are there to guide you, to keep you safe like a nest. Once you're out there in the college, nobody tells you what is what. Your classes are there, your university professors take your classes, and you're done. You reach out to them. If they have other courses or other colleges to go to, you might not be able to reach them, because college professors are also very busy with their own research work. So it's all on your own. So first year, you need your time to stabilize yourself, and in any subject, it's not just economics, in any subject. And then from second year, you go hunt for that internship, and hopefully by third year, don't be disappointed. You look for an internship for a whole year and then you still don't get it. It's a possibility, especially in a market of COVID. Lots of internships are being retracted from the market because they cannot afford, or it's not feasible. They can't give you the computers to work from home. So it will take time once you get into to look for an internship and find one. But at the same time, once you get it, it's worth it. You have an experience, you get to know people, you see how things work, and you also get to decide for yourself, not following your friends, not following the crowd, but you get to decide for yourself what you like. So that's the main idea about internships. And I think on that note, I would be ending this long presentation. I'm so sorry, but I hope that was helpful, and I'm here for any questions.
Thank you, Shauli. It was not at all a very long note. It was very informative, right? It was very informative. It was very informative, first of all. And secondly, there are some students who are willing to ask you some questions. So let's start our interactive session. First of all, Pauli, please enlighten us that since you are studying abroad and there you have started working as well. So can you please share with us, with the students especially, that how to prepare or the right time to take the preparation for studying abroad?
Surely, definitely. So thing is, the main idea, if you want to study abroad, you have to be very sure about it, because the first time you are investing, it can be a little heavy on the pocket. So the thing is, once you start preparing, it takes about a year, but if you're diligent enough, half a year is fine. But I would suggest that if you really want to study abroad, you know what subject you want to study and which country do you want to go to. For example, most of my friends suggested, and it's also really good advice, that go to an English speaking country, because it's easier. It's easier to integrate with the people there. It's easier to blend in. It's easier for everything. But if your main motive is purely that you want to improve in a particular subject area, I would highly recommend that Google is a very good accompaniment. So you just Google it, that the best countries in the world for this particular kind of subject, and you look for it, and then you see which country it is. If you're comfortable going to even, say, Poland or Hungary, where the language you do not speak, but you see that the program is so good and it's in English, and you're willing to learn the language there, then just go for it and apply it that way. But the safest bet, I would say, is go to an English-speaking country, because you can integrate yourself properly there. You don't have to face the barrier of another language. Second of all, preparing for GRE and TOEFL. So lots of countries, especially English-speaking countries like US, their colleges need you to take both of these exams, TOEFL for your language and GRE for your general credibility. So your marks, whatever you got in your university or your bachelor's, doesn't matter. It does matter to some extent, but your GRE score is very crucial. So you have to study, you have to, I don't know how many of you know about GRE, but GRE is something which is, say, comprehension and logical reasoning, then mathematics, and another section of English. So there are four sections which you have to really take the exam at the same time. So it's really tiring. So the main idea is how to solve each of them fast, swift, and also how to maintain your composure. Because honestly, once you start with your GRE examination, it's going to be a long, long day. Same with TOEFL. TOEFL is the language thing, which comes again for speaking and comprehension, listening, and I think also writing. So for both these tests, don't take it back to back in the same week. It will be tiring for you. So take it maybe 1 week apart, and the GRE score lasts for 5 years. The TOEFL lasts for 2 years. So be very careful. And moreover, you just have to practice daily for these kind of things, because that's the thing, it just tires you. In these kind of examinations, I have seen lots of people, they perform poorly because they're tired by the half of the examination. So you have to keep yourself really in a practice mode. And also it helps sometimes if you want to, for your own self, because I personally think if you're disciplined by your own, it's okay, it's great. But if you feel like you can register yourself with any institution, doesn't matter what's its name or where it is, it just gives you a structure. That's it. That gives you a structure to maybe, make yourself obedient and follow that routine or pattern. But if you can do it on yourself, that's the best, I would suggest. But if you can't, and if you think that you need some structure, go to any institution. The institution doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter. It just gives you a structure. So you follow the structure and it helps you. And they will also tell you the same thing, that practice, because in the end, it's all about having your stability in performing for long hours, like 6 hours straight. So that's the thing for preparation for GRE and TOEFL. Also for GRE, I would highly suggest you to download an app on your phone called Al Jazeera, which gives you all the news report and everything, and you'll be updated with the latest current events, and their articles are also very well written, so it kind of gives you a very good flow for your composition for GRE, because you're very critically marked in GRE. So that is the second thing. The third thing that you need to prepare for are your statement of purpose. Once you do select your universities, you have to have your statement of purpose and your reason. The statement of purpose mainly says, why do you want to go to this university? What can you bring to this university? And what are you really looking forward in 5 or 10 years? and you can be completely honest. You can flower code it a little bit. Everybody does it, but just keep in mind it has to be crisp and it has to be very well written, because one grammatical mistake and they're going to penalize you badly. So very well written, captive. So because they have lots of applications from people, so you have to attract their attention right away. So that's why you have to write it once, rewrite it, again proofread it, make somebody else read it and point out your flaws, and give it to a couple of people so that they read it and they feel like, I don't like it, or maybe change this. So because different people have different opinion, so that kind of helps you improve your writing. The other one is you need letters of recommendation. You need really good letters of recommendation, and more often than not, you have to write the letters of recommendation yourself, because your professors might not have the time to write it. So you'll have to write the letter of recommendation yourself, and you have to send it to your professors. They read it, they sign it, and they send it to the universities personally. So this was my personal experience, because I thought that letter of recommendation came from the professors themselves. But they told me, we don't have time, you have to send us, and we will sign it and send it. So again, you have another piece to write. But if you do find a professor, and try to find a professor who's relevant to the subject that you're studying. If you're studying economics, don't go to your physics professor asking for a letter of recommendation. So go to a varied amount of people. For example, if you want to study macroeconomics, go to your macroeconomics professor, and go to your mathematical economics professor, because you need both of these in your further studies in macroeconomics. So go to relevant professors and get their letter of recommendations, and you have all of this set, because you might need to send letters of recommendation to a lot of people. So this is, I think these are the basic preparation tips that I would say if you want to study abroad. And keep in mind the budget as well. So look out for scholarships if you're looking at a particular country and you see that the fees is huge. There are lots of sites which list the scholarships. You can reach out to the universities, you can email them, and they will tell you, okay, so these are the scholarships that we have in the university. So reach out to the administrative staff. They're always helpful, and they will tell you. So I think, yeah, that almost covers all the aspects of preparation that I had to have.
Thank you. You have told us in detail. I think students have also listened to you and they came to know all the details about it. Now, one more question that I would like to ask you. What do you see about the future of quantitative finance after the pandemic?
Right. So when you ask me about quantitative finance in the future after pandemic, I think what I see it as, when I look at the financial world or the stochastic world or the stock market, basically, way back when it all began in 1950s, where the stockholders were small-scale retailers, that time the economy and the stock market kind of went hand in hand. But let's take, for example, the biggest stock market right now, which is New York Stock Exchange. So as you saw in the pandemic, during the pandemic, when we were having this kind of economic downfall so rapidly, the stock markets did fall in the beginning. But once the federal Fed, they kind of opened up their reserves, they said, okay, we are supporting you. The stock markets rose up, and they're still rising. They're really rising, and they're not at all parallel with the economic growth that's going on in all over the world, actually. So I think when you say stock market, the reason behind this is because people got faith, because the Fed was supporting the stock market. So they got faith in it, and they kind of started saying that, okay, so we invest, because it's all about, like when you have something backing you up, especially the government, you invest more. So you buy stocks more. So the stock market improved, and mainly because also the stock market nowadays, the major part is by major, huge companies. For example, the S&P 500 index is comprising of companies like Apple, then Alphabet, which is the mother company of Google, and then Microsoft and Amazon. And these kind of markets, they not only flourished during the pandemic, but they thrived. People were buying more stuff. people were getting delivered more stuff from Amazon than software. They were buying more software because they needed to integrate their home routine office and everything. So these companies, they rose, their share rose and their values rose, and that's why the stock market rose. So when you look at the quantitative financial market, like the financial studies, you see that, okay, it's very, very profitable if you're studying quantitative finance, even after the pandemic and even during the pandemic, because the stock market will always behave in this way. If the majority of the people, and yes, it's unfair that the rich got richer during this time, but it's how the stock markets work. The people who own the majority of the stock markets will be getting the benefits because it's a percentage kind of game. So I think if you're studying quantitative finance, your field options are getting broader because the stock market is still developing, but at the same time, the economy is falling. So you have to be very careful how you project the next move. It is easily possible that the stock market might drop, as was seen the GameStop news. I'm not sure if anybody has heard about it. The GameStop, when their shares kind of rose really abruptly because the common citizens were buying and selling them. They were shorting them at really rapid rates. So that could happen easily again with another kind of company. But at the same time, after the pandemic, if you're studying quantitative finance, it's always great opportunities. But at the same time, not many job offers there. So you have to be really, really good to do that. So I think, yeah. So that's the future for her.
Thank you. You really covered the aspects so well. So here, Meghna, you wanted to ask a question. You didn't write it in the chat box. Would you like to ask? Yeah. Here is a question for you. Amlan, a student of our school, he studies in humanities. He has written that a student of humanities without having economics or mathematics, though I had both during my middle school. Actually, he had studied economics up to class 10, I remember. So what are the zones of economics I may look for, and what are my chances of getting in? That is, up to class 10 he has studied, and now in his plus 2 level, he is not in touch with economics and mathematics. So what do you think? Yeah, please.
So I think for economics, you need a little basics of maths, but you don't have to be disheartened if you don't know the crux of mathematics. But at the same time, as I said, you can look into the international relations if you really want to study for example, economics, and then you can look into the international relations, which is a pretty good aspect. You could say they don't really require that much of economics, but again, if you're going to do your PhD in something like that, you might need a little understanding of how the mathematical models work, because in your PhD, you have to show them how your thesis or your hypothesis is working. So that kind of it will be a little helpful if you keep brushing at least your class 10 level basics mathematics. And moreover, I think, international relations, international policies, and also to some extent development economics without the mathematical modeling thing could be really good choice. Or even public finance. Public finance is a really nice sector to look into if you don't want to deal with math so much.
Yes, Meghna, you can ask your question.
Okay. Should I respond to our first question, which is, I want to know if I want to study economics in my undergrad course as well. Can we select the course we want to major in then, or do we need to wait till our master's? So maybe when you're doing your bachelor's, you don't get to choose your specialization, because in you don't have that, but you can actually enroll in a specific economics. For example, you can enroll in business economics. I think in Symbiosis School offers you that. Symbiosis School of Economics in India, they offer you that to enroll in a particular kind of economics. And but I mean, if you know it already, which particular specialization you want to do, you can look it up. But other than that, under Calcutta University or even under Delhi University, Jadavpur University, if you're doing your bachelor's, you will have to do all the subjects, and then you finish your bachelor's, and then in your master's you get to specialize. So I think that hopefully that answers your question.
Another student has asked you that a combination of political science and economics. Okay, so what fields will be open to him if he takes a combination of economics and political science? So, though he has not taken economics in his class 2 level, and he has studied up to class 10. Okay, so what will be his openings?
Okay, so first of all, I would suggest that try not to leave out statistics completely, because trust me, one way or the other, it helps. Even if you don't need it in depth, a little understanding of it helps. But whereas political science, it can be a really good combination, but at the same time, you can pick it up anytime you want, because political science, you really don't have to go through the crux. If you are a voracious reader, if you like reading, or if you're curious like me, you read a book, you read 3 or 4 articles or another book, and you'll be up to date. But if you're asking me this question, what combination of political science and economics you can go into, I think the institutions for that, I don't know, are you in West Bengal? Okay, sorry. So which I knew was, one was, both of them are female colleges, like women colleges. Like I think one is Loreto and one is Shishikshaitan, where they have a really good political science program with economics. But other than that, the institution which can be good for political science, I think you can actually look into Bombay University. Bombay University does a really good, really mean course of, when I say mean, like really neat course of political science and economics, because and also you can also look into I think Jadavpur University. Jadavpur University, you might have a really good understanding, but I'm not sure what is the current situation of the master's program in Jadavpur. But when I was studying, most of my teachers told me, don't do your master's from master's, not bachelor's, but master's from Jadavpur University in economics. But for bachelor's, I think Jadavpur University is really good in economics as well, the combination of political science and economics.
Thank you. One more question a child has asked. What is the economic condition of Paris in this COVID situation? That is a more relevant question.
Well, the economic condition in Paris is, how do I say it? It's getting better because things are opening up. And also, I think Macron, the leader of the country, he kind of guessed it that if he keeps people under locked doors and under, lockdown, they're not going to be patient anymore. And also lots and lots of small scale business units, which are really there in Paris, because Paris is a very touristic city, you have to understand. So all the businesses that thrive here are on tourism, and they're small scale restaurants and cafes and bars. And so they're closed. They're not earning anything. They're sitting and they're earning maybe 100 euros a month from the government. So in that sense, the government is also unable to, earn anything from the economy. Or so the government was kind of in a pinch, like financially. So that's why they kind of opened it up during Christmas last year, because they knew that the commercialization and the people will be buying, because this is such a, Christmas is a big deal here. So they knew that if they opened up things, people will be going to buy things. So they kind of maintained it in that sense. But at the same time, they sort of also really flourished, or how do I put it in words? They quickened or fastened the process of vaccination so that they could just get over with the lockdown and start up the commercial units again, because the moment the lockdown was lifted, there were lots of people on the street, which is not COVID friendly, but at the same time most of them are now vaccinated. So it's getting better, but the economic situation was definitely just like the rest of the world. It was also going down, but it's getting better now. It's really getting better. So that's the economic condition of Paris.
So thank you, Shauli. It was really a very impressive seminar, very interesting, informative. I think students came to know a lot about economics, investment banking, finance, quantitative economics, in which you have specialized. So it really enlightened us. Even I came to know a lot from you. So
Thank you so
a
much.
very big thank to you. Now I'd like to call upon our senior coordinator, Ipshita Miss, to give you the vote of thanks. Over to you, Miss.
Good afternoon, Shauli.
Good afternoon,
To our
ma'am.
ex-school captain, Shauli Pandit.
No,
Feeling
ex-school
so
vice
proud.
captain, ma'am.
Oh,
Thank you
sorry,
so much.
ex-school vice captain. So
Thank you.
it is the same old Aishwarya, the same old confidence. That is, we always knew to be a very confident child, and you are maintaining the same. And you have not only maintained, but you have excelled on it. The way you spoke, the that is you have that is I was here from the very beginning, that so you have touched upon all the points that comes to the mind of a child of classes 9 to 10, 9 to 12. So it was a very impressive one. That is, as Rakib has said, that is, we also came to know many lots of things from you. And I think the students also have been benefited. And I was seeing, just going to the chat box, it is flooded with the questions. And it is not only being on the Gmeet, students are also there in the YouTube, and there are also lots of questions. But because of the time crunch, we could not, that is, take up all the questions from all the students. And on behalf of St. Augustine family, I do thank you a lot. That is, all the students, all the teachers, the students, they are benefited from your speech, and we teachers, we are feeling very, very proud.
Thank you
Throughout,
so much.
Rakimis's video was on, and I could make out from her face how proud she was feeling. And not only she, though I could not see the faces of the other teachers, those are present here, that is, the same feeling would have been reflected onto their faces also. So thank you, Aishwarya, from the core of our heart. And a request that you, when you come back to India, when you come back to Kolkata, do come and visit us. The school gate
Definitely.
is always open for you. Not only from you, for all the ex-students, and we will be, that is, feeling more proud to see you in the school campus. Thank you
Thank you
once
so much.
again, and hopefully that whenever we required your help, we will be extending your help to us. Okay, thank
Definitely.
you.
Thank you so much,
Over
ma'am.
to you, Rakives.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's nice to hear from our senior coordinator, ma'am. Shauli, Miss had taught you. So she
Yes.
has all sweet memories that you were the school captain, vice captain, that also Miss remembers vividly. So really, it was a proud feeling for all of us. And it's a great pleasure to have you here among us and to listen to you live from Paris. So I hope when you will be visiting your country, your hometown, we will get to see you. Once you
For sure.
come to school, visit the school, and thank you once again.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I really, really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you so much. And definitely I'll be visiting. I remember you, all of you. And to my fellow students, whoever I couldn't answer any questions, my email ID is on the screen. Feel free to reach out. I'll be there. I'll write to you as soon as I can. So, and thank you so much once again, ma'am. It was a huge honor.
Thank you, students. As she has told you that she has shared her email ID, so whenever you are in need, you can mail her. Whenever she will be free, she will be answer you back, right?
Definitely.
So, with a positive note that we will be able to see you once again, and all the best for all your future efforts. Thank you.
Thank you so
Have
much,
a
ma'am.
great evening.
Thank you. You guys have a great weekend, people. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, students, you can log out. Our seminar is over. You can leave the gym.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Yeah, still some students. Students, please log out.
Bye, teachers.
Shweta Miss is also here. Miss is our vice principal, ma'am.
Three,
Oh,
three
I think
students
Miss
are
is
here.
very
Miss,
happy.
you remove. Miss, you
Yeah,
remove three students are still there. Remove
yeah,
them.
I'm removing. Yeah.
Hello,
I think
Charlie. How are you?
hello, ma'am. How are you? I'm okay. I'm okay. How are you? It's been so long.
Exactly. After so many years,
Yes, definitely.
I
I,
am
I
feeling. Yeah, tell me.
no. Please go ahead.
Really feeling proud seeing you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Really. Oh, I see you finally. Thank you.
I thought it's better I like interact with you over the at least in this virtual format.
Absolutely. It's a great pleasure, ma'am, to be here. Thank you so much. I'm really glad.
So you have contact with your friends?
Friends, in the sense, I think I have contact with a few of them here and then few of them, because they're social media platforms, they reach out sometimes and I reach out to them. So it's kind of like that. Yeah. Yes.
Really nice to see you.
Pleasure's all mine, ma'am. Thank you.
And as I said, hope to see you physically in school.
Definitely, ma'am. I haven't been able to come back home in 2 years. I haven't seen my family in 2 years. So definitely this
Exactly.
time I come back, I'll be there for sure.
We used to take your feedback from your sister Aishwarya.
Ah, okay. How is she doing in class?
So from Aishwarya, yes. So from her, we used to take the information about you, how you are, what you are doing.
Should I
Okay.
interrupt, Miss? One more good news I can give you.
Yes,
Shauli's
yes.
elder sister Nandini, she is working in Mumbai, but her son, that small little son, studies in our school, and the child stays with Mrs. Pandit, and
Oh,
he
that's
is
great.
studying in our school. It's a great news, isn't it, Miss Shweta Miss?
Exactly. That's a great news. I got
And still
sometimes like
she's having that
some.
lovely hairstyle.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah,
ma'am.
exactly.
How are you? It's so